at the Andy Farrell news, Rud, and what it means for various people, I suppose, in the next while. So Andy Farrell signed a new contract to include the 2031 World Cup, so a 4-year extension. His current deal was due to run out after the next World Cup. There's an expectation that there's a good chance he might coach the Lions in 2029 in New Zealand, so he might, similar to in Australia, the Australian tour, he might step away for the Six Nations that year, and someone else will take charge. 'Cause obviously there's the Ronan O'Gara piece in it as well. Like I mentioned at the start, like La Rochelle have finished the season brilliantly. He seems to have kind of regenerated that team amidst a very difficult season with, Uni Antonio having to retire with that heart issue, with Skelton getting a very bad injury. So the traditional big beasts haven't necessarily been available to him all season, but they're still in the mix in France. What he does in the short to medium term will be fascinating as well. Do you think it's a good decision the IRFU reached to do the extension now, like with the World Cup kind of still unknown? Because obviously what happens if the World Cup doesn't go well is always a question. We saw it with Eddie O'Sullivan back in 07 when he got a 4-year deal, and then the World Cup went really badly, and all of a sudden things kind of went pear-shaped very, very quickly. So there's always a risk in kind of doing a deal quite like this at this juncture.
Yeah, there's a risk in every decision, and there's a risk for both parties. If this news had come out the week after Ireland had squeezed past Italy in the Six Nations game, and before the Twickenham game, where everything seemed to just click again, and suddenly everyone felt good about Irish rugby again, and we'd be having a very different conversation, because it did look like the Andy Farrell project was losing momentum until he got, we got another signature performance, a performance that reminded us of Andy Farrell at his best, or Andy Farrell at his team, and then they kicked on from there and finished with the Triple Crown, and everyone felt pretty good about the team again. And the RFU are sitting there. Rassie Erasmus signed up to 2031. Like, the All Blacks have just signed Tony Brown off the Springboks for after the World Cup. Everyone's doing business 18 months out right now, and there is interest in Andy Farrell from abroad. So they have to make some projections, and I think you got to sit down and go, right, draw up your list of candidates. And yes, O'Gara is there. But I think if you were appointing from fresh right now, Andy Farrell, with his experience, if he wasn't in the job, if he just had his CV, he would be right up the top of the list of coaches who are available. And you've already got him, and he wants to stay. And I think it's a safe decision, and it's probably the right decision as well, based on what we know about him, based on how fresh he thinks he keeps things. There's a risk. Like, when it came towards the end of Joe Schmidt's tenure, he talked about how he was worried that the players had been listening to his voice for too long, and that he had outstayed his welcome. And the last year things went south, and I think that was part of it, that the players had just got just sick of hearing the same voice and the same message over and over again. And he's gone elsewhere and refreshed himself, and he's had success with other teams. Farrell will have been in working with some of these players for their entire careers. I mean, I'm trying to think, will anyone from when he started out in 2016 still be playing at the 2013 World Cup? There won't be many. So there'll be players he'll give their debuts to them, and they'll be retiring under his stewardship. So like, it's a mad tenure, but it takes a special coach to pull it off, and he is quite a special coach. So it's not without risk, but it's probably when you're weighing it all up and you have him, I think it's hard to let him go, because what happens if you let him go? Maybe he goes to Saracens in England, but I think it's more likely he goes to England, and you're then letting your asset go to a rival. O'Gara could end up in England, then that's a weird chips in the night situation, but it's the devil or whatever. Like, it's kind of it's a known
with that expression.
It's a known quantity,
Luke, what's your verdict on it? Are you happy with that news?
Yeah, I think so. Look, he's a guy. Do you know what? You don't hear many. Or you hear pretty much no kind of bad feedback from him. Like, he seems to have a great personality in that. The coaches seem to really like working with him. Seems to be a very high kind of EQ guy, and that he has a real good pulse for the team, and seems to be able to kind of reinvent or continue, whatever message he's relaying seems to still be landing with guys. He can still change, what has had, there's been a couple of trajectories where you're kind of going, oh, is this kind of, what's happening here? Is it, are they on a bit of a slide? There's a couple of older players. Is he still able to kind of resonate with them? Or the message is still landing? And I think he's still able to do all those things. And And I think he's the kind of guy who, there might be some coaching changes underneath him potentially over the course of this period. But he's the kind of guy I think who'll be able to get in good guys to work with him, because the feedback is that he's great to work with, and seems to be kind of open to changing his mind about certain things. Seems to have a good, he's great at kind of keeping the group on side, and that he can, he can be quite nurturing, I think, at times. Patient with some guys, but also he has that ruthless edge to him. So he has the kind of combination of both, where maybe Joe, I think, is probably kind of constantly ruthless with everyone. And that can be tricky to, I suppose, unless you're changing the players, which, it's not really an option in Ireland to continue to change the players. It's not like a professional football where Alex Ferguson could change the team. Like, it's unrecognizable, kind of bar maybe 4 or 5 guys, every 4 or 5 years. There's just not that turnover of bodies. So to continue to land, similar messaging and have that kind of pressure on all the time, I'd say that was probably the challenge for Joe. Whereas I think Farrell seems to be a bit more, I don't know, amenable, maybe a bit gentler personality-wise, but still has that, ruthless edge that you need. So, yeah, I think it's a good one. Like, it is interesting to see what happens around him. Like, the ROG thing, to me, it probably feels like ROG has to come back to an Irish province before he and that feels more natural to me, that he does a province before he does the big job in Ireland, because I think you probably need to get used to working with the union. I think there's a bit, like, you see the challenges that Leo Cullen has had behind the scenes from time to time. Joe seemed to be able to push people around. Cheika was able to push people around in there. But I feel like for whatever reason, like this, Leo has had a few challenges behind the scenes that I've kind of heard of, and it's difficult. His job seems to be very much prepare Leinster players, get as many Leinster players into the Ireland team, which I don't think all the other Leinster coaches have had. It's be successful with the Leinster team has been their first kind of mandate, if you like. So, that would be interesting to see how ROG would cope with something like that. I think he's got the personality to do it and to manage that well, and to be kind of, razor focused. But that is a challenge. The top job, you obviously don't have those constraints, but sometimes it feels like maybe there's one more to go. And that's very much that's just my view. I haven't heard anyone else say that he probably needs to do a province before, but I just think that'd be good for him to do that. To see how it kind of works in the interior, in the kind of upper echelons of the IRFU, and how he would cope with that. And yeah, I just like to see that. And maybe that's because I'm not as up on the top 14 maybe as I should be. And I only see La Rochelle and kind of, dribs and drabs around kind of the cup, but I would just like to see him more regularly in an Irish job. And maybe that's because I'm not watching enough top 14. Yeah, I mean, he certainly has a serious CV building up, and it's someone I definitely like to see at the top job. And it's interesting to see now what happens to him over this period, because it sounds like he did want to make the move into kind of international rugby. He kind of made a few little soundings there, but as you said, maybe he has kind of turned the corner with this La Rochelle team, and has kind of introduced a few young bodies, and is now a new phase for this team that kind of keeps him hungry there. But he's certainly someone I would like to see in Irish rugby sooner rather than later.